And with us right now, we have a guest, Cathy Albro. She's candidate for 3rd Congressional District for U.S. Congress. Cathy, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Tell us about yourself and your background and why the heck you going to do something crazy.
Another teacher, by the way.
Yes, well, a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I can't think of any other thing to do with my life right now than run for Congress. I was a teacher. That was many, many years ago. And then I also worked with teachers all over the country and had the opportunity to see children's education up close, and mostly in high poverty areas like Appalachia and Mississippi, and on reservations in the Southwest, and then most recently in Flint I've worked. So what I saw actually made me cry, because it is very inequitable, like Tanya just talked about, in this country. We may not see it in our own schools, we may be lucky, but there are schools in this country and in this city that our children are not getting the best education they can possibly get, and we need to work on that. So that's the main reason why I decided to run. For many, many years I was thinking something has to be done. This just isn't fair. And then I read a book called Dark Money by Jane Mayer last year after Trump was elected, and that put me over the tipping point. I just decided that I wasn't going to sit back and let that happen to our government, to our country. So
you joined the resistance.
I did.
Sort of.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been resisting my whole life, but not actively like I am now.
So how long did you teach, Cathy?
I taught for 7 years, but then I worked with the teachers for 13 years after that. And then I also owned a small business called Creative Learning Center. It was a child care center for 15 years. And because I wanted a high-quality early childhood program, and I knew most parents couldn't afford to pay what it really costs, I opened a toy store called Creative Learning Toys. And
what city was this in?
This is in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
That was open for 30 years, from 1981 to 2011.
Wow.
And that's helped subsidize the child care center.
Okay, so at what point did politics become either interesting or somebody's got to do something about this? When did all that hit you, Cathy?
Well, I think I kind of grew up with it, with my father being a strong Democrat and watching politics on TV and talking about it a lot.
Did you grow up in Grand Rapids?
No, I grew up in Farmington Hills, outside of Detroit.
Yep.
Moved here in 1978 with my husband, Rick.
Also, in 1978. So you moved here when we had the big snowstorm that year.
Yeah, pretty close.
It was like 24 inches with blowing, drifting.
You
don't
know what? I
Quite
think
a
I
while
moved
back, Jim. No, you're going way back there.
Yeah.
I left for Key West, Florida the day before.
You know, at 10 minutes to
I don't
5.
remember.
That sounds like never
What were you doing on that day?
Well, I do remember school being closed a lot, so I suppose that was probably the winner.
Yeah, that's right. You're probably in 3rd grade then. So. Well, anyway.
I was teaching 1st grade.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm assuming, like most politicians or people running for office, tell us about your experience pounding on doors, talking to constituents.
Well, I love this experience, meeting people and talking to them. A lot of people, their biggest concern is our economy and the fact that they and people they know are having a really hard time just paying for everyday needs.
Yeah.
Their paychecks are not high enough, and they have to work way too many hours, and they're taking time away from their families to put food on the table.
Now, the 3rd Congressional District, that's like Calhoun County,
Right.
Berry County, Ionia too, right?
Ionia County also.
Ionia, Kent, and then part of Montcalm County,
Well,
right?
it's a very gerrymandered Kent, so, I mean, it even snakes up into East Grand Rapids a little bit, and Kentwood, most of Wyoming, Granville, Jenison, those are not part of the 3rd district.
Right, that got gerrymandered.
That's Rob Davidson's district.
Correct. Yeah, that's the 2nd Congressional District.
Right.
I used to be in the 3rd. I lived right here in Kentwood, which is southeast suburb of Grand Rapids. And all of a sudden, now I'm with the Lakeshore all the way up to Baldwin.
Wow.
I mean,
Is-
so they took Granville and Kentwood, is what she's saying.
Well, and around Calvin College is.
You mean it reaches around there
yes,
too?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
didn't know
People
that.
don't know. And then the Montcalm part is just a tiny ring around Greenville.
Yeah.
The Greenville itself is not
Sounds
part
like
of the
somebody had a
district.
plan when they drew that
I
district.
think so.
Sure
They must
did.
have known how many Democrats and Republicans we have.
Yeah, they really did their homework.
So this
on
is
gerrymandering
Amash's
thing.
district, right?
Yes.
Where's
Well,
he been? I
don't-
haven't heard.
Yeah.
He's like holed up somewhere.
he's-
I mean, I haven't. I haven't heard any statements.
He
anything
did
said-
tweet something very meekly. I don't remember the exact words about yesterday
Really?
with Trump, but it
Did he?
wasn't very strong.
No, but that's the way he plays the game.
Jeez.
Dave and I've been to 5. I think Dave's been to 4 Justin Amash town halls.
I challenge you even to get a hold of anybody in the office. Usually, you get a recording.
Well, yeah, he plays a very generic. Have you talked to him before?
I actually introduced myself last time at the Marshall Town Hall. Yes.
Oh, at Marshall. Okay,
Okay.
because I was down to Hastings as well. And then I talked to him and then his handlers and stuff. And of course, this program leans a little more left, and we'll consider it. And of course, never hear from him. We're not scared to have Republicans on all day long if they choose to and say anything they want. We have a right to criticize or just give a response. And,
Right.
Um,
Well,
it's
I'd like
amazing
to
with
know
Amash.
what his answers are to some of the questions as
Absolutely.
well. Most of us fill out the League of Women Voters voter guide, and he hasn't done that as far as I know yet
Really?
either.
Why do you
So
think that is?
I don't know, but I'm just wondering if maybe he doesn't want to share what his actual real thoughts are
Yeah.
about the issues.
Well, he seems to be, and now that we've seen him, he's a guy on his own. I know the billionaire, the helicopter crowd around here got him in, and then immediately he just draws his own conclusions, and they got mad at him, and now they're endorsing other people. But
Well, he's still a Republican, so
Yes,
he can
what-
Well,
vote.
he seems to be a shoe-in all the time, right? I mean, it's you got a tough row
Right.
ahead of you to
I do.
beat this guy.
yeah,
We do.
But it can happen. I think this is
Yeah,
going to
sure.
be the year for
This
it. I
is-
really
if,
do.
If any other time, this year could be it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a town hall meeting with this guy, and if you can get Amish in a town hall, I mean, you got to ask him about last night's Putin Trump
Sure.
Relationship
Helsinki
there, sure.
speech
Oh,
there.
there are
Wow.
many things, many votes that we could talk about.
Yeah, but I mean, how can people see that and not say, "Whoa, wait a minute"?
Well, and
we're-
Dave, we've heard him go ahead and criticize Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll do it in a mild-mannered way. I think part of his problem, he says no to everything because he plays it safe. Well, that's not a good enough idea for this or that, or that costs a lot of money. Everything is
him
no.
and Rand Paul are buddies.
Right, and then but Rand Paul just came out and supported Trump in a way, I guess.
saying, they're picking on him.
Yeah.
He's well, that's I don't even really think of. I can't even. I haven't really thought any words what to say about the whole thing. It's amazing.
It's
I mean, it's just.
yeah.
We had to just throw him in a truck, take him down to a golf course, and say, hey, you just play golf for the next 2 years. And
I thought he'd do that by now.
because Mueller's going to take care of this for you. That's what's going to happen.
Well,
We hope.
if it's not too late. Again, you know my opinion on the whole thing about Trump. So it's like, he's not going to go away. I don't care.
And I
even-
disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't see him going away. He's
I
gonna,
do.
If he gets arrested, if Mueller comes out with real criminal charges, that'd be the only way. But the longer that takes, the more difficult that is even going to become.
Well, they keep finding more bad guys and more information.
Right.
So, and I think
Yeah.
this makes it okay for Mueller to finally bring indictments. After yesterday, it makes it even easier to let go.
What do you think of the idea that we could probably just let Mueller go over to Russia, interview those 14 guys, and then bring the Russians back here and let them interview
That's
our
Putin's.
witnesses.
That's Putin's idea.
That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Well, I think you'd end up having an accident in Moscow in a
So who
ended up in a
I think
bottom
that
of a
it's
river.
sad to say, but the stranger things have happened. What about the interpreters? The two of them in the room.
Yeah.
How long do you think they're going to be around?
Were they American at all?
No, he didn't
Yeah,
even
that-
have one.
I would be worried as an interpreter in that room.
Oh,
you're the only
oh,
one.
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
it's all of a
Putin-
sudden
oh,
I have a
yeah.
heart attack.
Putin's
Yeah,
probably told
yeah.
him that anything comes out, you're
Oh,
dead.
sure.
So, but anyway, let's get back to
He already he,
Cathy.
Yeah,
he
and
was
now
taping.
back to
He was
Cathy.
He was taping the whole thing anyway. I mean, he was listening. He taped the whole meeting.
Yeah, Kathy, you said you were in Flint When did you say you?
I was actually in Flint during when the water crisis was going on.
It's still going on.
I lived there. I had an
Yeah.
apartment there because I worked with the school every day.
Was your water contaminated?
Well, I was told basically that it wasn't, and then some people said, well, it might be. You better not drink it. And this was before they actually came out with something, definitive publicly. But that September, when school opened, the teachers all said the children are not acting right. It's not, this isn't their typical behavior in September.
A lot of teachers noticed this.
Yes, they all did.
Wow.
We had talks about it. Like they're fighting way too much. They're not focused. That some are suffering from trauma. We can't even get them in from recess.
Wow.
All of those things. And then in October, I think it was, they actually said your children have been poisoned by lead. And so they immediately closed off the drinking fountains. They put that caution tape over everybody's drinking fountain.
Really?
But the thing is that those children did not even get bottled water for 2 weeks in school.
Really? Even after that discovery?
It was right. Nobody took care of that.
Well,
So-
it seems like they also need some medical help at this point, right? If
for
if
sure.
they've been
Yeah.
infected.
Well, it was the doctors really basically the blew
Right.
the whistle on everybody, right?
right.
Okay, we're
right.
going to take a little commercial break. We'll be right back with Cathy Albro, candidate for the 3rd Congressional District. Be right back.
Mr. Chase, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Gino will be right back with more Cut to the Chase. You're listening to Cut to the Chase with Jim, Dave, and Buck.
And we're back. This is Cut to the Chase on WPR Radio in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're 95.3 FM, AM 1680, and streaming all over planet Earth at www.publicrealityradio.org. We're going to have some friends calling from possibly Massachusetts and Hawaii and Arizona.
Maybe California.
After we're done with Cathy Albro. She's the candidate for the 3rd Congressional District, running against Justin Amash, and then in her primary with Fred Wooden, who was on last week. So we're giving everybody a chance, and we'll give Justin Amash. I've invited him.
He needs to come by.
When he sees me at all of his town halls, I guess he's tired of looking at me, and I don't care. We do have a caller on the line. We'll see if we have a question for.
Hello.
I guess not. So anyway, so we have
Never mind.
Buck Gino and Dave Johnson, live
was
radio.
easy.
Yeah, that was an easy one. So
Yeah.
Kathy, you're off the hook on that.
Oh, okay.
Angry caller.
Yeah. That's what screened him out.
So, Kathy, we talked a little bit during the commercial break here. Why don't you back up and talk about what you were talking about there?
Well, I have been listening, driving the other day to Made in America. It's a conservative talk radio show, but I heard a commercial from Feeding America, and they presented several 15-second stories about people who are hungry because basically they have to choose between their medicine or their health care, a catastrophe in their life versus feeding their children. So that's why Feeding America needs to exist, and they were pleading for donations. And then I saw a billboard, too, so they must have some kind of an ad blitz going on. But it said, "Ending the story of hunger," is what it said. And to me, that is very confusing because, to me, ending the story of hunger means something totally different. It means health care for everybody. It means a quality education for everybody. It means livable wages so that people can be self-sustainable and they don't need an organization like Feeding America. That always needs to exist because people do sometimes permanently, sometimes temporarily need assistance. But I would love to work in Washington to make sure that everybody that wants to work and that has a family to support has a livable wage and the benefits that go along with that and health care that they don't have to worry about anymore.
Well, the reason is, too, you look at it, and there was this promise made to everybody with this huge tax cut that they gave to the rich here months ago, that they were actually going to see real wages, come up. And so where are those stories? You know what I mean? I mean, usually if that's kind of happening, most people look at their paycheck, and I know one person, $1.50 difference. You know what I mean?
And with the tariffs,
Yeah, the
they're
tariffs
actually
are-
going to lose more money than
Yeah,
what they're making.
Which won't even buy a half gallon of gas.
Right. Well, yeah, and
that's
the
right.
tariffs are going to be worse than a lot of
You
people.
can't
think.
go
You're
anywhere
absolutely right.
still. Yeah, the tariffs are going to hurt.
Tens of the farmers.
The farmers are already hurting.
Right.
So I live in a farming community,
Right.
and these are farmers that actually voted for Trump, and they are hurting, and they'll admit it.
Yeah.
They say, yeah, maybe they won't say, oh, it's Trump's fault, but they're saying, man, this is really getting bad.
They put
they're
large.
worried about it.
The large corporate farmer on there with the giant tractors and the thousands of acres, and they say, okay, yeah, we can stand it for a while, but that's not the real farmer.
The little farmers,
the real
or
farmers
the
out there that are
mid-size. Yep.
they can't do that.
No.
No.
So
No, and we're going to start a listening tour very soon to get farmers' perspectives in all 4 counties to learn more about what they're dealing with and what they think they're going to be dealing with. Once marijuana is legalized, if that should happen, I would love to see hemp legal to grow, and I think
Absolutely.
that could be a
Sure.
nice crop to substitute for soybeans or
Right.
corn.
Yeah,
yeah, because we're not going to be able to sell our soybeans anywhere else. They're going to buy them from China and every place
Yeah,
else.
hemp can
Another-
be used for energy and rope, and also there's
Oh,
dozens
paper
and,
products.
Yeah, there's
Right.
also all that stuff,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's a good job for entrepreneurs or
Yeah.
smaller farmers,
Yeah.
and that's a threat moving forward too.
Right.
Is it's just like gambling. When gambling's legalized in certain areas, big business wants to come in. We'll take it from here. That's the same thing with the marijuana,
Right.
or the cannabis and hemp business. We don't want it.
I'd
We're
like to
gonna be
see
more-
it stay small so that minority
I
and small
agree.
businesses
I
can do
agree.
that. But back to farmers, too. Some school districts in Michigan now are receiving a subsidy of 10 cents a meal for food grown by local farmers, which is fresh and nutritious, and it helps support the farmers. I would love to see something like that
would too.
nationwide, too,
Sure.
where the local farmers are supported, children are getting fresh food.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah.
types of things can happen
Yeah.
and grow our farming.
Their kids are going to those schools.
I live in a farming community myself. Like I said, it's north of here, and it is a huge farming community. But now it is a great time of the year because the farmers markets are everywhere, and on Saturdays and Sundays you can go to these farmers markets and buy all this great food for really cheap prices, and it's just really good food.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
it's
and they
available.
also accept the food assistance program.
Some of them do
too.
now. Yeah, they'll actually
Many of
take
them do.
a bridge card.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the thing of it is that and you talk about all these things that could happen. Even, we have no infrastructure plan. Look at what's going on
Yeah.
with the roads. And the reason is because all this other stuff is going on, you know what I mean? That there's no time to do what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, you cast Trump out there to somewhere in space. The blame really lies on people like Amash, people like Heisinger, because they
Who have not made people accountable.
and they're
Right.
not putting anything forward.
And how is Congress spending their time? They're
Yeah.
wasting it.
Yeah, exactly. They're not doing anything, and and
Well,
so
they're defending a creep instead of doing their job
Well-
and helping America. We got 2.2% inflation
And then
every
meanwhile,
year,
the
and they're not
teaching-
even doing any of that.
The
Look,
teaching
that's- yeah,
thing, the food thing, the infrastructure thing, it's becoming overwhelming.
Yeah.
Is what the deal is. And so it's getting harder to catch up with it. And we're still not heading towards it. I mean, they haven't really fixed Flint. I noticed yesterday that what they were saying, 300 union workers.
well, that happened. That was a while back.
Was it?
Yeah, they
The-
were putting. I think it
Filters.
Was, yeah, they. Put
I thought it
filters-
happened like just last week.
Well,
yeah,
they've been
300
doing- they've
union
been-
workers.
They've been
Put
doing
them
it
in for free.
They've been doing it right along.
Oh yeah, that has been happening for a while.
Yeah.
And even plumbers, I think,
Yeah.
when they were working.
Damn plumbers.
Yeah, no, he's from the plumbers and pipe fitters, and they sent hundreds over there,
Yeah,
mostly at the beginning.
The UA has been doing that right since day one.
Well, it's like
That's our
who's
union.
jumping up to help the people? The
Sure.
unions.
Right, exactly.
Right, exactly. The ones that made America a middle
Right.
class to begin with,
Right.
are now, and they've been traumatized by all the conservative things that have went on out there, and now, but who's going to step up? The
Yeah.
unions are stepping up to help the people. They're feeding them, Jim, right?
Sure.
Right.
Well, but that was my point from the opening of the show is that, when you talk about people like Amash and Heisinger, where are they? They're not doing anything.
Well, I think
you know what I mean? And that's the question.
they believe in free market. They believe
Yep.
that, let
Chips fall where
everything
they may.
happen the way they should happen, and
Yeah. It's good
survival
for-
of the
It's
richest.
good for me, so.
Well, that's the easy way out. And I think you had mentioned earlier that I don't think Justin Amash, has been in any of the fight growing up.
No, he had
He's
a
growing up
pretty
with
good.
a silver spoon, and if I don't
I see
see
that same way.
a lot of bad, then I think everything's okay. And then the easy way out is say let the markets adjust and all that stuff. That means do
And some
nothing.
people will get hurt
Well,
by it.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
but that generation basically has a different theory, and their theory is that if you're down and out and having trouble, it's your fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the way they've been raised. Is that if those people are out there that are over on the other side of town, it's their fault that they're there.
Well, yeah, and they'll
You know
throw
what I
in.
mean?
They'll
And,
throw God in there too.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, sure.
Hey,
Well,
God gave you the
Yeah.
ability to help yourself. You're not doing that. You're disobeying God. So
What-
I mean, so we got a lot of moving parts here that isn't helping anybody.
Right.
But I love this job. I love being a congressman.
Yeah.
And the glitz and
The
all the stuff that
perks.
goes along with it.
One
I
one
think-
thing that happened to me also, my husband and I, is that when I owned the businesses, we realized that it was better if we owned the building than rent the building. So, several years into the business, we decided to buy commercial real estate, and then as my business grew, or I sold the child care center and kept the building, we accumulated commercial real estate. Well, after 2008, the Great Recession, the properties devalued by half. We lost our tenants. They went out of business. They were paying us about $10,000 a month in rent that we lost. So we ended up, the bank, we owed more to the bank, so we ended up having to liquidate the toy store. They took our house, our businesses, everything was gone. So we filed for bankruptcy in 2011. And that's another reason I'm running, because Justin Amash is in favor of eliminating all of the protections for consumers. We can't let this happen again.
And his old buddy Trump's helping him do it too.
Oh,
It's
man.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
What a guy.
So
Yeah, well, yeah.
what's the method behind that type of madness? Just everything will just shake out, and I guess if they shake you right to the core, that's your problem. Just start all over again. Pull up your bootstraps. I mean, what?
I call it predatory capitalism.
There you go.
right.
I call it born again capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there?
But I think capitalism is fine.
Sure.
I have businesses, but
Sure.
there are ways to be socially responsible in your business
Well,
too.
capitalism is great, but as long as there's a balance somewhere to keep it balanced,
Exactly.
and that's organized labor.
That's true. Kathy,
Yes,
do you have
yes.
any websites or Facebook
Yes.
stuff? What's going on? Go ahead.
Yes, actually, we are out into meeting people every single day, so we need all the help we can get. I have a website. It's Cathy Albro, CathyAlbro, for Congress.com. You can get on that and sign up to volunteer or donate. And also a Facebook page. It's just Cathy Albro for Congress.
Great. Well,
Nice.
we're
It's
glad you're
great.
getting around there. You get by your
Positive.
your primary. We'll have you back then. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Need more
Kathy,
people
good
like
luck
you
with
running
you,
for
huh?
office. There you go. Good luck.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Kathy.
Uh-huh.
And we'll be right back. Cut to the chase on WPR Radio in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Don't go anywhere.